Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with various wins for the Quail Hollow and the Wells Fargo Championship in Golf Clash the game. Before we take a closer look, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that do want to take the next step in your game, you subscribe to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, scanning the QR code here on the screen, or you're using the link that is in the description down below. Before you watch the videos, you need to have in mind that the videos will display the win strength that we won't be having in the tournament. We do have a modifier that will increase the wins a lot. So have that in mind, that when you start the tournament on Thursday, the 4th of May, that the win will be different than what you see in the replays here. Follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. On hole 11, we're gonna do 2 top spin and 4 left spin. That's the same as, or very similar to what we did on the front 9. Now we're looking to have the second bounce just be by the edge of the rough with ball guideline through the hole. It can be a little bit finicky to have the ball guideline through the hole completely, but do your best and zoom in if necessary to have a proper look. Now, we're gonna zoom into max. You can see that the tree there is in our face. That's why I'm using this replay as well. You can see when I'm zooming in max, I can see it properly. And this is going to be the blue zone. We're gonna use zones here, pretty big zones to be honest. And here we're gonna use 2 clicks of left curl. Perfect ball it is. We are bouncing on the fairway into the rough, and it rolls up towards the pin, dropping dead center for a lovely hole-in-one here in hole number 11. Hole number 2, and we are going to start with the rock and a P3 ball. Then we're moving 11 rings right. Yeah, that's a very specific amount of rings, but that's because we do want to have the correct angle in terms of pushing the ball up left. So once we've done that, swap into a pock and B52 bag. 5 top spin and 4 left spin, playing with a Kingslayer. Adjust is going to be max plus 10 P3, and we're pushing the rings due to the trees. We don't want to zoom out and be inaccurate with our ring pull. That's why we're pushing. Max curl to the left, max overpower with a completely slow needle. We're looking to be having our drive to approximately 385 yards. When it comes to the second shot, be prepared with your B52. And what we're going to do is that we're gonna use a back break check. Sounds almost hilarious, but we're gonna use the break that is behind the pin. You can see here that we're moving up, being in line with pin, using that as a check. Then we are moving to have the yellow ring to be by the rough line, using 1 left spin and 1.5 bar of back spin. Ball guideline will go through the hole just slightly, and from +3 we're using 17% slider, -5% elevation, P5 numbers. Make the adjustment, center the ball and hit perfect, and we're gonna see ourselves having a very good chance for a drop. This is what I would say one of the easier ones of the Quail Hollow, which also means that if you're gonna have anything to do with winning the tournament, not get to the final round, but winning the tournament, then you kind of have to drop this one. On hole number 3, we're gonna play, if not the longest, but one of the longer par 5s we do have in the game. So let's pray for some tailwind. Otherwise, it's gonna be a very difficult eagle to get. Because here we're playing generally for an eagle. Sure, the albatross will be there if being very unlucky, or being very lucky, but generally eagle. So I'm playing an NMT adjustment and then pushing up. Max overpower, trying to obviously use all the top spin that I can. and want to go as far as possible. In scenarios like this, playing with a topspin boost ball won't be bad either, but here, as I'm playing mainly to make sure that I do have some power on the second shot as well, the power 5 ball will help a lot when it comes to the second shot. Now you can see here now that I can attack the pin for an albatross, but it's very glitchy on certain spots there, so if not getting to the perfect spot, the glitch will, or like the glitches may risk you rolling into the rough on the back of the green. 10% elevation here on the second shot, but let's say like this, as always when it comes to elevation, it's a floating number and we are adapting elevation to work together with the rest of the adjustment. Making the adjustment, aiming short of the hole, as I do have tailwind, we don't want to come in too hot. Centered ball and hit perfect. There we go. And we can see this ball here now coming perfect, and you can see that little roll there, and that's obviously not what we want, but in the end it's played in a way that we are counteracting the glitch, making sure that we're not going to roll into the rough on the back if we're aiming at the hole initially. And again, it's an eagle and run. Sure, once again the albatross is there, but it's going to be made by very, very few players. Hole number 4, this is another long par 4, and here I would say it would definitely benefit from having some tailwind, and then we could get ourselves much closer and we could give ourselves an easier time. NMT with a P1 ball is what we are going to do, and that's why you can see this as a replay glitch. It shall not be in plus 16. So you can see there now that it kind of jumped back to plus 5, which looks very very suspicious in that sense, but that's because it's a replay glitch. Start with a P1 ball, adjust, switch to a P3, side spin 4, win 5 ball. In this instance, we're looking to get this ball to around 405 yards. Adjustment is max plus 10. Now for the second shot, we are attempting a rough bump. We're playing this rough bump on that sloped rough that is by the green. Here you can obviously do different ways. You can go for the rough bump, but you can also go for a bounce up by using the fairway that is to the right to bounce the ball towards the pin. All down to what you prefer doing and also what gives the best possible effect to get that drop. 4 right spin, 3 top spin is what's being used here. 1 to 1 minus 1 is the base that we are using, which is from plus 4. So that's why I'm not adding any elevation in the info box. Adjustment is done. We are then going to apply tweaks based off wind angle and obviously strength as well when it comes to long distance sniper shots. This to try to be as accurate as possible when it comes to these type of long distance shots. Perfect ball into the rough, rolls up onto the green, dropping that one right side of the cup for an eagle here on hole number 4. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament text guides for the Wells Fargo Championship. We are producing expert and master division qualifying round and final round guides for the Wells Fargo Championship, and especially with the more people getting to the final round, as it is a better cut line, combined with the fact that we do have increased wins, which is going to make it less droppable. Having a guide to follow is going to make you spend less time in practice and still be very competitive running for the final round and also for the top spot, depending on what goal you set up. Make sure to subscribe, use the QR code here on the screen, or you go through the link in the description down below, called patreon.com/golf-tommy. Obviously, we do offer 18-hole tournament guides. We offer tour play guides as well. We have something for each and every one. So sign up and start improving your game. Hole number 5, this is one of the easier par 3s that we do have of the Quail Hollow, and we're gonna do a rough bump, and I would say this rough bump is gonna be played with in regardless what wind we do have. 0.8 top spin, 3 left spin. Now we're looking at the ball guideline to be just by the middle of the dark and the bright green square row, approximately one green square short of the pin. Adjust max plus 15 power 1 ball settings here in this particular video, and then minor wind angle tweaks depending on what wind angle you do have. Center the ball, apply the tweaks that's needed, and hit perfect. And we are dropping this one nicely on the right hand side of the cup, touching the pin a little bit. Hole 5 offers a really good chance for an hole-in-one. Start with the rock at NMT, and then we're swapping to Apocalypse level 5 plus. You can see that it's an NMT with a P2 ball, 6.5 topspin, 2 left spin. For Apoc 5 users, you're using max topspin, and then we're going to do a little push up in the end as well to compensate for that. Adjust max plus 10 P3, max curl to the left, and do your best to hit perfect. Ensure that you do have a side spin 3 ball equipped, because we're gonna need it on the second shot. Apoc 5, 6, and 7 users is gonna use a little bit more than 2 left spin, just because it has slightly less curl. So a side spin 3 ball all the way for Apoc 5, 6, 7. Apoc 8 is obviously then a side spin 3 ball on the approach, but you can set up with a side spin 2 ball to simplify the spins on the drive. On the second shot, we're gonna use our sniper, 1.4 top spin and 3 right spin. Now we're looking at 2 references here, and that is top of the red ring by the rough line. And then we're gonna have the ball guideline to point short, but towards the hole, like that, perfect. Adjustment here now is going to be from +7. We are going to use, let me just give you the correct number. It's going to be 50% slider with 5% elevation, P2 numbers, and that is from +7 and also +8. Last piece of the puzzle, we're going to use underpower to compensate here to not come in too hot. Circle break underpower in this angle, and the reason here once again to why I'm using the underpower in the end is to be able to use the ball guideline as a reference when I set up my shot. Because if I'm going to play just center ball there, I'm gonna come into way too hot, and I'm gonna come in with left. So then I would have to do a spin swap or an offset, and I decided that the underpower is the most easiest thing to use in a scenario like that to tweak. And we are getting a nice little albatross here on hole number 6. Get our guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Hole number 7 is honestly looking very straightforward, very easy, but it's not. This is a long par 4 first and foremost, where you should be prepared of having to play with your sniper from distance, if not having a very favorable tailwind, and we can push the drive very hard. Here I'm playing from a max P2 line, which is +11, and then the clearing by the rough line, adjust max no elevation, all the top spin, 2 left spin, and then playing max OP with a slower needle. Here you can play with a P4 ball, you can play with a P5 ball, you can literally do whatever. We're gonna bounce and then hope for this little rollout here. And that's also one key to this type of play, is that we do want to have a consistent rollout, because if we're getting one time 400 yards and one time 415 yards, that's going to change the second shot a lot. Now you can see the second shot with a luminary. This is only here to display one way of playing this shot. If you can reach far enough, you can go for a rough bump on top of the bunker on the left, which definitely is an alternative. But if not, being able to reach there, let's say with this type of wind, then bouncing like we're doing here with our sniper is the best possible way to attack the pin, with no risk of losing out on the birdie, but also giving us a shot for the eagle. 10% elevation is what I'm using here in the video, but have in mind that this elevation, as always, is a floating number, and we're only using that to play together with the rest of the adjustment, like such as spins and and the club distance adjustment that we're using and such. So don't be afraid of changing that number. Perfect ball, you can see that the ball bounces on the fairway, and then the green is slightly downhill, so it's very easy to come in too hot. Coming in a little bit too hot and just right. But in the end though, it's a safe birdie, and we're giving ourselves a chance for an eagle without really spending any special ball here with this one. But again, there is different way of playing on this one, but it's very easy to look at hole number 7 as an easy, straightforward par 4, where sure, the drive is that, but the second shot is not an easy one. For hole number 8, an option here is to go with a backspin shot, especially in this type of wind. You can obviously do that in tailwinds as well, but you can see here now that I'm aiming way past the pin in the on the left side of the dark green square row. Max backspin adjustment is max plus 20. And once we have adjusted, as always when it comes to the par 3s, we are going to look for wind angles and tweak accordingly. Sure, there will be par 3s where the wind angle tweaks will not be that massive, but there will also be those scenarios where there will be massive depending on the nature of the par 3. Adjust once again. It's done. It's bouncing on the green, past the pin, rolls back dead center for the hole-in-one here on hole number 8. Once again, this is a par 3 that can be played many different ways. It all comes down to the wind and what drops the most consistently for us shot creators to then present to you that as a user. Hole number 9 is a difficult par 5 due to its being so long. Here playing an NMT with a power 5 ball. It's a P5 wind 5 ball, this to help myself a lot on the second shot. Adjust max plus 10, all the top spin, all the right spin. We're pushing up 10 yards in this instance when it comes to this particular play. And using 1.5 ball of a right curl, trying to hit perfect. Obviously with a max OP shaky needle, this is going to be some grades involved, but this fairway is so wide and open that that's not really going to matter. It's all that matters is to get the correct distance to be able to play the second shot. Obviously, if there is headwind here, it's going to be very difficult to have a solid chance for the albatross. And that's obviously something that will be very boring. Then you might even have to play for an eagle in the end. Now, bullseye by the edge of the rough line. I like these type of plays because it removes the inconsistency with trying to find a specific ring reference by the rough line. Ball guideline through the hole, and the reason for that is that we do not want to fall short. No elevation, and from plus 17, plus 18, I'm using 100% slider with no elevation P5 numbers. And again, the reason I'm aiming through the hole like I'm doing is to compensate for the fact that I'm dropping down into the water with my target, and therefore I do lose distance. Now, it's all about hitting perfect to give ourselves a chance, and if we do have made the correct tweak in terms of the wind angle, we can get ourselves a nice drop here for an albatross from distance on hole number 9. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough with various win for Master Division, Quail Hollow and the Wells Fargo Championship here in Golf Clash the game. Have in mind that we will have a modifier that will increase the wind compared to what you will see in the replays that you see in this video. So just have that in mind. Scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy and join the by far largest Master tournament community that there is in Golf Clash. So sign up. Try out our 9-hole cup guides with you offer for expert and master division. Also, in the end here, I want to wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.